we are making today something not very traditional for Canada Day, but it's a really delicious recipe, and I wanted to share that. So today we're going to be making vegan fried rice. And fried rice traditionally has egg in it, so today we're going to use tofu instead, and you'll get a lot of protein out of the tofu as well, so it'll be awesome. So I'm going to show you the ingredients that you're going to need for this recipe. So again, my favorite thing, tamari. We're also going to use traditional soy sauce and a little bit of rice vinegar and this sesame oil condiment that I have, but you can just use sesame oil if you don't have a funky condiment. And some turmeric. And then you can use kind of like any leftover veggies that you have for this recipe. I know some things are more traditional than others, but for this recipe I'm going to be using chopped red onion. I have red and orange bell pepper. I got a bit of corn left over, and I'm going to be putting some kale in. So a really good tip with kale is, a lot of people don't like kale. I could eat kale raw like in a salad, but if you don't like kale but you want to get some healthy greens in, just chop it up like as finely as possible and then put it in everything. So that's what I do to get my greens. And speaking of greens, we got green onions. I'm actually going to put a little bit of pineapple in. I know there's some anti-pineapple people out there, but I'm going to put it in. And then to replicate the egg that usually goes in fried rice, I'm using some really finely crumbled extra firm tofu. So I see Crystal there. Hey Crystal. So where I got this tamari, you can get it at the Asian grocery store, so the TNT that's near us would have tons of different tamari, but this one I actually got at Bulk Barn, and this is my favorite brand. I don't know what the name of it is, but you can recognize the bottle. Okay, so I have all of these ingredients. So the first thing we need to do for our fried rice is replicate that scrambled egg, because that's usually the first thing you do. I have a really hot pan, and we're going to see how loud and smoky this is, because I had this pan preheating for quite a while, so I'm going to turn it down a bit. So let's get started putting together this fried rice. So the most important ingredient for fried rice is the rice, which I forgot. So I have some leftover brown rice that I cooked, and it's really important to get like that nice fried rice texture, is to make sure your rice is cold, so it's good for leftovers. So I like a lot of recipes that you can use like multiple ingredients throughout the week, so whenever you are making stir fry or making something else with rice, always make a bit of extra rice, and you can put it in burritos, you can put it in, what did I make last week with rice? I can't even remember. Anyway, there's lots of recipes that you can use rice. So let's get to our eggs. So we're going to be using our crumbled up tofu, and I'm going to put some oil in the pan too, because I think this pan is going to be like super ridiculously hot. And I'm using like a really, I'm not using a stir fry wok, because I want all of the surface area of the pan. I'm going to be making a lot, so I want a big wide pan. And this oil pump sucks. Alright, let's see how we do with the smoke factor on this really hot pan. Wish me luck. So there's your tofu. Into the pan. So the other reason why I wanted like a big wide pan is because, and I wanted it really hot, is because you want that like caramelization on stuff that really denotes like a really good fried rice. So make sure your pan's nice and hot and you have lots of surface area for what you're cooking. I'm going to turn that way up. And I'm not using, this one's not quite non-stick anymore, so you just want to keep stirring it. So we'll spread that out. And then how we're going to get this to look a little bit more like egg is we're going to add our turmeric. So I use that in the scrambled tofu as well. You always put the turmeric for some color. So you just want color, you don't want to get too much of the flavor of the turmeric. And then you always want to put black pepper with your turmeric. So turmeric is very anti-inflammatory, and then the black pepper helps your body absorb it better. I don't know why, I just know that that is a thing. So you can see here, I'm going to break up some of the big pieces too, but you can leave them if you want. For fried rice, I'd rather have like really small pieces. So that very quickly turned into something that looks like scrambled eggs. So I'll show you guys the color. Very nice. Awesome. So we're going to put that in, and I'm going to move it a bit to the side there. Give us a nice hot pan. And then I'm going to get our onions going. I think I put a bit too much there. And the peppers. And I'm going to put the kale in right away because Frank doesn't like eating it. So I want it to like disintegrate as much as possible into there. And then the corn. Basically you can kind of put everything in. I'm going to put the pineapple is going to go in near the end because it's going to give off a lot of water. So I'm just going to wait on that one. Actually, this just looks like scrambled tofu right now. So this is actually how I would make my scrambled tofu as well. So if you want something for breakfast, just scoop some of this out before you put the rest in. So this is awesome. I'm going to turn this up a bit so we can get it cooked fast. Speaking of scrambled tofu, has anyone here had scrambled tofu? Do you like it? I think it's one of my favorite things to eat. And I see one of my anti-pineapple friends has piped up. I love pineapple and savory stuff, so I'm not throwing it in the garbage. So if you keep it spread out, like when you're not stirring it, you'll get a lot of that like crispiness off the bottom there. So we'll let that sit for 1 second. And then one of the other things when you're doing the fried rice is to put all the liquid like ingredients and spices and stuff in with the veggies and the tofu. Because if you put the rice in first and then you put all the liquid stuff on, it's just going to absorb into the rice and you won't actually like be able to stir it around. And then the other thing is this pan I'm realizing is small for the amount that I'm making. And if you put all the rice in, it's going to be really hard to stir. So you want to put all your flavorings in before you put in the rice. So for that, we're doing the tamari, the soy sauce. The rice vinegar is very potent, so you want to be careful with that. And that's also taking place of, like, I think the more traditional thing to put in fried rice is mirin, which is like a cooking wine. So the rice vinegar will kind of give it that same tartness. And then we have a bit of our sesame oil condiment. And my sesame oil condiment actually has a bit of heat to it, so that's kind of nice too. If you didn't have that condiment, you could put sesame oil and maybe some hot sauce. So that's up to you. So now I'm going to add in, everything is softening up pretty good. You can see it sticking, which is fine. This pan should clean easy. But you want, I always like fried rice for like that crispy, some of the bits were crispy and I really like that. So we're going to add in our pineapple. And the liquid from the pineapple is going to help deglaze the pan a little bit. Awesome. So now for our flavorings. For the rice wine vinegar, I'm actually going to measure this stuff because the rice wine vinegar, or the rice vinegar I should say, is probably pretty potent. So I'm going to try to just do like just under a teaspoon. You can adjust it later, but if you go too far with the vinegar, you're going to regret it. with that. Now I won't measure, actually the soy sauce probably, let's do like a splash with a teaspoon there. And then the tamari, you can throw a whole bunch of that in. It's awesome. And now I am going to turn it down because we have our heat there. So keep that going. So you're not looking for like a lot of liquid, you're just looking for to add flavor. Because fried rice is pretty, not horribly dry in a bad way, but it's usually pretty dry. And then I have this condiment. So if you can, I got this from a Toronto company and you can order it online. If you find it, it is life-changing. Try it. So it's got a bit of chili paste and miso paste in it, and then it's in oil. I'm just going to throw some of that in. But yeah, that condiment changed my life. It's so good. I put it on like tomatoes and toast. It's amazing. You can smell it in there. So I'll show you guys that everything is well cooked and you've got all the flavorings in there. And again, you can always add more of the seasoning if you get the rice in and it's not enough. So I'm going to give that some space. And then this was 1 cup of cooked rice, or sorry, 1 cup of dry rice, and then I cooked it, so it's quite a lot. So I'm gonna add like 3/4 first and see how much we get there. So you can see it's nice and cold and clumping together. That's what you want. So actually I'm looking at that and I need the whole thing. So again, that was 1 cup dry when I started. Mix that around. So this is where the heat now is going away. I'm going to turn it back up. You can kind of adjust that as you go. I just didn't want it to like start burning the little bits. So there we go. And actually, I did forget another ingredient. I've got edamame here. So I'm going to put that in. So between the edamame, the brown rice, and the tofu, you have like a ton of protein in this thing. If you're worried about protein. There we go. And I'm just going to give it a quick flavor test here with a spoon. Hopefully I don't burn myself. So you can see all the different colors there are awesome. So the flavor is actually pretty good. I'm not getting that like soy sauce flavor that I like from fried rice, so I'm just going to put a bit more. And at this point the rice is probably dried for cooking, so you can add that soy sauce in. And now you can see all the little yellow bits of the tofu egg and all the veggies. So I've realized that I've made like a boatload of rice here, but so you just want to cook that down, whatever heat you're going to do it, until it dries out a bit. And that'll really help if your rice, like I cooked this rice today earlier, but I let it cool down. But if you use leftover rice and it's really nice and dry, you'll get that fried rice texture really easily. Alright, so I'll show you guys real quick. Really nice. And now we're going to serve it up. So, I think actually with all the veggies and protein you're getting in this, you could eat it alone and it would be awesome. Or, what we're doing with this tonight is we're making a recipe called Bang Bang Broccoli. So if you Google that, vegan Bang Bang Broccoli, It's battered and fried, or you can bake it or air fry it broccoli with a spicy mayo, and it is so good. So we're gonna have that on top of here. So we've got our fried rice, we've got our scallions or our green onions. You can put that on top. And another thing that would be so good on this is sesame seeds on top would be really nice. All right, so this is the final product. Let's give it a go. Look at that. Awesome. I might burn myself. That's so good. So I've got the savory from the tofu and the tamari, and I like that little bit of sweetness from the pineapple. I didn't put too much in, so you kind of just get a little bit, but you're also going to get a bit of sweetness off the sweet peppers as well. So that's awesome. Very good. So you can use white rice, brown rice, and if you want to be super healthy, you could also make that with leftover quinoa. Quinoa is a really awesome, I hate using the catch term, but superfood. It's actually a complete protein, and it has all your essential amino acids in it. That's quinoa, but brown rice is pretty healthy too. Well, there you go. So thanks for everybody for joining me on Canada Day. I know everyone's probably kind of partying or celebrating. And also thanks for paying attention at the beginning about looking up the First Nation people that might be in your area in Canada. But otherwise, happy Canada Day. I'll put this up on YouTube. I missed putting up my last week's video, so you'll get 2 this week, and I'll put that up soon. There you go. There's the kale. Thanks, guys. Connie says I am a superfood. I'm a super foodie. Choking on rice. Okay, bye.